Here is question 2A, part 3. So here's our question, and it's looking at, they've taken a random sample of some athletics competitors and swimming competitors, and they've looked at their heights. So this is from our 2012 London Olympics. And they want to know, the question says, is it possible to conclude that there is a difference in heights? So there's your hint that we're looking for a conclusion. And we need to think, how do we make that conclusion? And so what we're looking for is, are the medians far enough apart that we have enough evidence to say, yes, it's likely that there tends to be a difference. So here's our graph, and I've got the summary statistics there. So let's have a look at that idea. So first of all, I've shaded in the box of the athletics competitors, and now I'm going to add on the median of the swimming competitors. And I want to know, does that median lie inside or outside the box for the athletics? And so I can look at my lower quartile of the athletics, and that's at 180 exactly. And I can also look at the median of the swimming, which is also exactly 180. So it tells us that the median height for swimmers is the same as the lower quartile for the athletics competitors' heights. That means for this particular one, I do not have enough evidence of a difference. Okay, so that's looking at the median of the swimming compared to the athletics. Now I need to do the reverse of that. I now need to look at is the median of the athletics heights different to the swimmers' heights? So I'm going to do that process again, but in reverse. So I'm going to look at the box of the swimmers, and I'm going to look at the median of the athletics competitors. So just going to our tables, we've got a median height there of 185.5 centimetres, and I've got an upper quartile for the swimmers of 185 centimetres. So looking at the graph and looking at the numbers, there is actually a gap between these. Okay, the median is outside of that box. There's half a centimetre gap in there. So that tells us the median height for swimmers is bigger than the upper quartile of the athletics competitors' heights. That means I have got enough evidence to say that there is a difference in the median heights for these two samples. Okay, so that's what we want to do now, is write that up. So I notice that the median height of athletics competitors is outside the box for the swimmers' heights. So that means it's greater than the upper quartile. So that's my evidence or my justification. And that means I have got enough evidence to say that the median height of athletics competitors tends, notice that word, tends to be taller than the median height for swimming competitors in this 2012 Olympic Games for the sample that we've taken. Okay, so that answer there, being able to give me a conclusion plus the justification, that would be my merit. If I just get to the correct conclusion, that would be my achieved level skill, a U. If I have both of those sentences, that gets me my merit, R. Let's have a look at what extra we need to do now for excellence. So I've got a little diagram up the top here looking at curriculum level 6, talking about this thing, distance between medians and the overall visible spread. And it says that we can make the claim that B tends to be bigger than A back in our populations if the distance for sample sizes of around 100, that we've got the distance between medians is greater than about 1/5 of that overall visible spread. So I've taken that sample size of 100 because we were told in the question one group had 94 competitors, another group had 99 competitors. So they've both got sample sizes of around about 100 each. So that's why we're going to be using that criteria of 1/5 of the overall visible spread. So we're first of all going to look and calculate this distance between the medians. So down the bottom of the table, I've just circled the athletics median height of 185.5 and the swimmer's median height of 180, and I want to calculate that dBm, or distance between medians, subtract the two, and that gives me a distance of 5.5 centimetres. Now I need to look at the overall visible spread, and you can see from the graph that it's looking at where the lowest lower quartile is and the biggest upper quartile, and it's looking at that total spread between the two boxes combined. So here's a graph of our data, and I want to find the lowest lower quartile, and you can see I've drawn that on there, and I go to my table and that lower quartile is at 173. Then I want to find the biggest upper quartile. So that upper quartile there is at 193. Now I've drawn a little arrow between those two lines. That is the overall visible spread. Okay, so we need to find that value. So we're going to do 193, take away the 173, and that gives us an overall visible spread of 20 centimetres. So that's so far, but if you remember, the criteria said we want to do 1/5 of the overall visible spread. So now we've got to find 1/5 of the 20 centimetres that we've just found. So for a sample size of 100, we've got to calculate that 1/5, which is 1/5 times 20, which gives us our 4 centimetres. Okay, so now we need to look at that criteria again. Let's talk that through. We can make the claim that B tends to be bigger than A back in the populations if the distance between the medians, and for us that's 5.5, if that distance is greater than about 1/5 of the OVS. So 1/5 of our OVS is 4 centimetres. Our distance between the medians is 5.5. So for us, our distance between the medians is greater than 1/5 of the overall visible spread. Therefore, we can make the claim that B tends to be bigger than A back in the populations. So as the dBm is greater than 1/5 of the OVS, this again confirms that back in the population, the median height of athletics competitors tends to be taller than the median height of swimming competitors at the 2012 Olympics. So that's the level of evidence we want to be able to see to get a T to show excellence thinking in this question. Okay, and here is that marking schedule again for you. Just a correct conclusion gets you a U achieve skill. The conclusion with evidence is your R, your merit level thinking, and that conclusion with evidence, but going into the much more detailed curriculum level 6 evidence, that gets you your excellence T